Welcome to the Stickers on the Mic podcast, brought to you by StickerGiant.com, where we talk with our customers about how they started their business, how they're marketing their brand, and how they're growing their company. Without further ado, it's time for the Stickers on the Mic podcast from Sticker Giant. Let's get on with the show. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Stickers on the Mic. This is the first episode of 2021. It is January 7th. Andrew with you today. I am very excited here to have Angie Chua from Bobo Design Studios joining us from San Jose, California, from what looks to be an Airstream here. And that's obviously a big part of the story that we're going to tell today, how Angie and her Airstream and her entire sort of business at Bobo Design Studio is this lifestyle brand. And Angie, welcome and thank you.
Oh, MG, I am so excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, this is great. We've been big fans from the social perspective on Instagram and you know, the engagement. That's kind of where this came to be. And you know, I enjoy what you've been up to, and I want to learn more about it and share that with our crew here that's always listening. So, you know, you're inside the Airstream. Let's just start where you're at. Like, what's going on there?
So I live in a tin can. It's about 200 square feet of hallway encapsulated in aluminum, but I live in a 1975 restored Airstream Overlander, and this is my home. My husband and myself and my two wiener dogs, we live in here, and we try and work out of here when we can. It's a little bit tough, but I have a studio as well that I work out of, but this is our little home on wheels.
Nice. Does the Airstream have a name? Everyone seems to have a name for their Airstream.
Yes. So Mavis is the name of the Airstream. It was actually built by another couple out of Atlanta, Georgia. And they were looking to sell at the time we were looking to buy. And I didn't think, you know, they had quite a social presence. And when they put it up for sale, I was like, we're never going to get it. Celebrities were commenting on the thread like, oh, we're interested. And she picked us, and we were really excited, and now it's been our home. We've been living the Airstream life for going on 3 years this year.
And especially in the last year, 2020, and the pandemic, kind of maybe, you know, perfectly positioned. You'd already had a little bit of, like, a lot of people went right to that life, it seemed like, or in the spring and summer, whereas you already had a few years under your belt, and that's great, right? Yeah. To have that experience and be able, especially in this economy. And, you know, you started this brand, Bobo Design Studios, when exactly again?
Oh, geezy crazy. Probably, I mean, when I first started, it was a very different business, but I started it in probably like 2010.
What was different about it than now?
I created handcrafted like bags and purses. Was not a seamstress by any means, but I was really good at making this one thing, and I could replicate it a billion times. But I had an opportunity to have a brick and mortar store as part of this like retail incubator here in downtown San Jose. And having that store made me realize that the business that I had was not scalable. I've also been an artist my whole life. I always joke that I'm a fake artist, and so I call myself a fartist. I'm trying to trademark that. But
farting around,
just farting around all day.
All day long.
It's just my life, you know. It's just a lifestyle. But I had this, you know, kind of growing like artist service-based business, and then I had this product-based business and there just was no overlap, and I realized very quickly that I kind of wanted to rethink my business strategy. And so I moved into stationery, and you know, stickers was kind of the thing that allowed me to realize like, okay, this is the one thing that I can pump a lot of out. It's cost effective, it's scalable, everybody loves stickers. And from there I'm like, how can I do more of this? And so stationery was sort of like the next organic step. Yeah. So if it weren't for you guys, I probably wouldn't even have the business I have now. So maybe I got to give props to y'all.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's kind of cool. Because sometimes like you've got the passport and the sticker, so it's kind of like a combo thing. And then you got, you know, washi tape and prints, and then badges, gifts, pencils, utensils. There's like a kind of, you know, pretty wide range within that sort of stationary world, which we've had a few, it's a huge segment for us, actually. We're probably maybe the third or fourth guest in 4 years. You know, we probably like average, you know, a lot on that segment, and I enjoy writing about it because I do like journals. I'm a, you know, tried and true sort of moleskin basic person, Tombow pen, and then whatever I can get out of, you know, half the time it's like a sticker giant pen. You know what I mean? But I think there's an audience of people who really want to personalize. Like I see you sell the Tombos. Like I love Tombow,
Oh,
products.
the best.
They're like, especially when you're just like crushing through sheafs of paper, like a something where it doesn't bleed too much, and you can just like, you're drawing and sketching and noting, and I don't know, it's a lot of fun, and
Yeah. There's a lot of products out there. Tombo's one of them, where it doesn't matter like where you are in your skill set level. If you're like, I just want a really solid writing utensil versus I am like a professional artist, like the same pen is amazing. So I'm a big fan of those. But yeah, I'm also a huge fan of journals. I actually have ADHD, which is I think, kind of like the double-edged sword as a creative entrepreneur. But there was a period where I'm like, I'm going to bullet journal because that's what people with ADHD do. I'm going to get organized. And all I did was collect journals. And then I never wrote in them because I never had the discipline.
I have a similar sort of, I similarly have a lot of journals, and also attention is hard, especially in a digital world, and keeping it all together. I honestly like that I'll admit it. It's a weakness of mine. I'm always working on that, and it is difficult. And, so, you decide then to change up what you're doing. And then you've productized some things, right? Like you said, what have you brought in with this like passport program? Because again, I think the travel journal concept, and again, that's like the sticker sheets, which is obviously a lot of fun, right? From my perspective, they're one of my favorite products. So,
yeah.
How have you started developing products? Does it sound like you have a little bit of understanding then, if you went through an incubator, like there's quite a bit of thinking around how you create things to sell, right?
Yeah. I think most artists fall into the trap of being business owners. And I can almost say with complete confidence that most people who are independent artists that are now business owners kind of get into the industry this way. They have a skill or a talent. They make this thing, they give it away as a gift for Christmas, and someone's like, this is awesome, you should sell it. And they're like, okay. And then they sell it and they're like, oh, I guess I have a business now. I've opened an Etsy store. I guess I have a business now. But really what they have is, until they really think about it from a full manufactured production kind of approach, what they really have is a hobby, right? And so for me early on to switch from, I like making stuff and I want to sell it, to like, I actually need to have a plan. I need to have a strategy. I need to build a niche. I need to know what my brand is about. Like that was a huge shift for me. And so once I kind of got in that mindset and I really understood, who am I trying to reach? What do I want them to get out of it? What is the goal of my brand? That kind of worked itself out in terms of, what do I create? What is the cadence that I created at, and how do I, kind of build a production schedule? And for me, when I had my handcrafted business, as far as making bags, there was no goal. It was just I'm going to make pretty stuff. And when I started to switch into the stationery world, which is a very competitive, very saturated market, like how do you even break into that? And so I just knew that travel was so important to me. I found that there was a lack of really good travel inspired stationery. As an avid traveler myself, and like I said, I have ADHD, I would spend an exorbitant amount of my disposable income on travel and new experiences. And then I would come home and a friend would be like, oh my God, what did you do? And I'd be like, I can't even remember because I'm so depressed that I'm back at work. And it's like, I can't believe I just spent $4,000 to not remember what I was doing. And so a lot of kind of my personal struggles and my personal passions, like travel, really influenced, kind of the product collections that I create now. And that's sort of where the passport came from, is I couldn't find a journal that was designed to document travel. It was either a blank notebook, which is like too much creative freedom, or it was like a Q&A, like kitschy book you'd get from like Urban Outfitters. And I'm like, none of these questions are relevant for me. So I wanted to create something that was flexible, that allowed for some structure, allowed for a little bit of creativity. And when I started doing that for myself, I realized that so many other people wanted a version of it. And that's kind of where the passport came from. And the stickers are such an excellent adjunct to that, because who doesn't love stickers? And it alleviates some of the creative block that maybe some folks who are less artistically inclined, they can kind of attach themselves to that. And I think there's a nostalgia that comes with buying something like a sticker, because it kind of it evokes certain feelings. And, that's what having a small business is all about, is trying to, get people to have some sort of connection with what you create. And stickers are a really good low barrier way to get people invested in your brand.
So and that's a great, leads me to my next question. Once you've built this community, this brand, right, the Bobo Design Studio, and then on your site you've got the Bobo Posse, right?
Yeah.
And then you have a very active, and again, I started talking how we, connected on Instagram, but that's probably your largest platform, and it seems like pretty engaged, right? Like, and so how have you been maintaining and curating and growing that community all across, whatever channels you're trying to really leverage? I mean, what's been the best for you so far?
Oh, geez, that's a really good question. And if you asked me this a year ago, I would have probably had a different answer.
Nice.
I, of course, invest a lot into Instagram because that's the lowest barrier to entry. Everybody has an Instagram. It doesn't matter if you're active on it, but you probably as a voyeur or as a viewer are active on it. So that's the easiest way to reach people. But as my audience grew, I actually found that I got to know them less. And I long for, I only had 2,000 followers, which seems counter to like wanting to grow a business. But for me, I think it's less about walking into a department store, and it's more about walking into a really curated boutique where every person that's coming in, and that you're creating things that they're going to enjoy. It's less of a sale, So I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with social media in that regards, which I know that everybody has, and especially once you layer in kind of politics and current events, it makes the space
impossible being in the news cycle
and
trying to figure out how to navigate it. And for folks who are listening to this in the near future, we've had quite a long few months, and then the last year, but then of course just in our very last 24 hours, there's been quite a lot going on the national scale, and if you're listening to this far later, you'll know how it all plays out. We're still trying to see what happens, exactly. Of course, right? Like as a medium-sized business with a little over 100 employees, and then yourself as a Airstream Living brand, that is a lifestyle business that also does other stuff. I mean, you do more than that, right? I mean, Angie, you're not just sticker sheets. What else is what else do you feel like you're trying to develop these days?
I think the journals and the passports are like the core driving product. That's like my flagship product. But like any independent artist, I'm also trying to diversify my income in as many ways as possible. And, Patreon is a really great way for me to do that. And it's also kind of a bridge from getting off of social media a little bit. So I have a Patreon where I'm able to test and create new product, develop content strategies with them, and tutorials and all the other things that people do on Patreon. But as far as like physical product, it's the stickers and the journals just do so well, and it's a matter of like, how do I keep creating content that excites them, that wants them to keep coming back. And I think the best thing that I've done for my business is create that niche, so that I think it's counter that if you go more narrow with your audience, that it makes it harder to find people. That actually what I've done is created a really hardcore community that's like, I want the next thing that you create, because I'm super into what it is that your brand stands for now. So the sky's the limit, but it's going to stay kind of within that realm of stationery.
Oh no, that makes sense for that. Like from the like commodity side, I'm glad you mentioned the Patreon, because I was on there, looking around, and I haven't actually done a ton of interviews with folks who are leveraging that as a tool. A couple, but it wasn't like a big focus of the conversation. How is that platform for you? I mean, you've got these sort of 3 tiers of backpacker, glamper, airstreamer. It's kind of fun. I'm still in the backpacker level, although we haven't, just my family and I are looking for a little pop-up just to get started. We do like to travel. Both my wife and I love to travel. We both worked in the editorial side of that, so I just think it's a fun space. It's obviously been massively impacted, but I like a good adventure. I mean, we have 3 little kids, so it's hard to get them out. But like, how do you like? So again, like, I'm wondering, like, what does it look like for me if I'm obviously I have a little bit of Wanderlust myself. If I were to sign up for one of those, like, what you know, you have a podcast, so like, what does that look like for me as a listener, right?
It's just me talking to myself for 30 minutes, wondering how much time has passed and what have I said in the last 30 minutes.
Oh God,
like,
that's awesome.
It's just a hot mess. But people, I think.
But so I guess one thing I'm trying to work on, and you know, we're on the couch here, I guess. But like, what we're trying to work on our show is that engagement and getting to the feedback from people, right? I think that's like a really challenging thing when you're talking about producing content, and you obviously produce a lot. You of course have the store, which helps kind of, you know, keep clicks coming. And do you do all the fulfillment yourself?
Oh God, yes. I'm a team of one.
Yeah. So that's really difficult and a whole nother conversation in a way. I'm a content person myself, so I'm always very fascinated how, you know, it's a grind, right? But it can be very enjoyable if you are producing the things you even like to consume, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like what I was wondering about with Patreon. Like, how does that look like from a revenue stream for you?
You know, I went into it thinking like, I'll be happy if like 4 people sign up and I don't know 2 of them. Like, that's a win for me. Like, if 2 of them are not people I know or are friends, like, I'm happy. Like, I'll talk to 4 people all damn day. But, and of course, you know, once I got them, I'm like, if they stay for 1 month or 2 months, that's a win. I started it in May or June. And it was a result of the pandemic. My whole sales dropped. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen with retail. We were in the middle of Black Lives Matter. I was not in a place where I could just be posting to Instagram to a room full of strangers. Like, let's do all this fun stuff. It just, everything felt tone deaf.
Oh, it was really hard.
It was really, really hard. And it was brutally hard. But what Patreon did was it gave me a safe space with people that were really loyal, that knew how I felt, knew where I was coming from. And still wanted to see stuff from me, knowing that underneath the business part, there was a human being. Mm-hmm. And so like, it was such a cool experience because that first month I got like 50 people to sign up.
At different levels, perhaps. I
would say like more than 60% are at the highest tier, which is like mind boggling to me. I'm like, you could literally buy Chipotle and instead you're spending money with me on something that you don't know what you're going to get. And so it was awesome. And I'm now over 100 patrons
subscribers or whatever. Yeah. Patrons.
Yeah. And I've only lost maybe 2 over the course of the last few months. So it's been
like a little bridge. I mean, like it's planks in the bridge. I mean, you had to get between there and now. Yeah. I mean, the last 9 months has been so chaotic, frankly, and also it was chaos at first and then it kind of like got into this level, but then the summer and then the election and, you know, the roller coaster was wild. So that's really cool to hear. Cause like I said, I've, of course, looked at stuff and people, you know, promote it quite a bit, but Patreon seemed like, you know, an interesting platform. And I, you know, it's cool to say that, you know, you're able to curate that. It's a way to almost like verify your audience because they're willing to pay like that, as opposed to Instagram. You're like, I don't know, here we go again with another one of these little out of focus, walking down the road, whatever, plate of food at the diner, you know, like, okay, right? Yep. That's Instagram all day long. And it's exhausting, frankly. I did notice that you also, though, out of that, you know, we were saying how Black Lives Matter was difficult and there's hard ways to figure out where to insert the conversation or try to make it natural and organic. You've got this United Colors of Bobo collection and trying to talk about diversity in the outdoors because, frankly, as someone who worked in the outdoor industry, it's a very homogenous industry. Right.
Oh, we have a long way to go. And I felt, as a woman of color, I felt a little ashamed that I, even as myself, did not recognize. I mean, I've always known it was a very homogenous community, like you said, but I never actually like consciously thought about like, what is my voice in that role? Especially I have a travel niche, Wanderlust inspired brand. And so I felt a little embarrassed that it took me something like so tragic and
I don't think
impactful.
You're alone in that, right? I think we're many of us. When I say us, we all have different backgrounds and where we come from. But when I was in editorial, you know, 8, 10, even longer years ago, those conversations were being had, but very little could have been done in the way that it has most recently in the last few years, and that's not okay. I mean, I don't like that about where we are, right?
Yeah.
But this has been cool. Have you found engagement from these products on there?
Yeah. So those particular products, I try and create a new item for my United Colors of Bobo every month, and proceeds of that go to Color of Change. So, so that whole collection is just dedicated to promoting diversity, talking about, people of color and their perspectives with either socially or in the travel space. So that's kind of like an ongoing project that I'm dedicating myself to.
That's fantastic. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, colorofchange.org. It's hard, right, to figure out where to put yourself out there like that, and these products are actually very cool. And it's
I don't like to think of it as hard per se, because it's the right thing to do. At least for me, I feel like it's the right thing to do. What's hard is navigating the voices that disagree with you, and like where do you make space for that, and where do you draw the line? But I feel like what it's done is it's really got the people that my hardcore Bobo posse and followers, they've just rooted for me even harder. And it's actually built a stronger community. So,
well, I guess when I was thinking hard is like, you're doing it every month. Like that's a commitment. And and I guess the commitment to creativity, and like also when you put yourself out there, that's also the thing of like the give and take. Like some people might not like it. And I think you hit it on a good point where it's like, there's also a very slippery slope where people they're not your people, right? And you are very like negotiating that conversation is hard, and I also really, I think promoting diversity in the outdoors, this belongs to us sticker is really beautiful with these 6 female characters in the city and the mountain. It's, I don't know, I love typography, so even that big print is just cool. So folks, for those who like typography and just in general, I think the United Colors of Bobo might be my favorite thing on the site, even though there's quite a lot to go at, right? Like I like the California. I remember the California sticker when it first came out. I was like, okay. These, because I love the state of California. That was my region when I used to edit hikes for Backpacker magazine. So like I have a huge connection to just that geography. So that one, and then of course the Hoptimist sticker I think is actually on this laptop. I think it's on
Is
there.
it?
Yeah,
That's
honestly, I'm gonna have to put the camera down, folks, if you're watching the video later. But like, hold on, let's verify.
Let's verify.
Yeah, totally. It's on this laptop. So
I dig it.
That's so. And then the let that shit go sticker. You had so many fun. I recall when a lot of these were coming through the shop back in the day. Angie, like you said, you've got the stationery thing. You've got, of course, your own. That's just pure like creative tools for people. But then you have your own branded stuff.
Yeah.
The Patreon is become a thing for you during this pandemic. You do some commission work too. I mean, are you able to really do this sort of large space live event? I mean, live events obviously not right now, but that seems like we'll get back to some sort of something.
Yeah.
Right. What does that look like? Because I actually interviewed a year ago, actually, it's kind of ironic, a mural artist, and again, a guy named Kipto in LA who does some very cool, far out stuff. And, the murals are such a different medium. I mean, you got the sticker, which is this little portable billboard, and then you got the actual billboard.
Yep.
Goes nowhere.
It goes nowhere.
People come to it.
You have one shot to make it right. Yeah. You kind of talk about like, how do I like creatively, like, pump stuff out. And I feel like that's probably the only one benefit of having ADHD is I can get hyper focused and like get on this creative run. But also I know that I have like this brand that I need to stay loyal to, but like I get bored. I want to do other stuff, but I can't just do whatever I want all the time. Like I have an audience that I got to cater to. So the other lines of work, doing either commissions, which I don't take right now, but like the mural work, working with other brands, doing licensed work is like a really good creative outlet for me that kind of takes me out of like this like travel focus all the time. And it allows me to experiment with different mediums, different styles, things that I maybe wouldn't be able to do for my business. So I love it. But murals is a new thing for me this year. I did a few this year. I did a hand woven mural, which was pretty cool 2 years ago. So I did some lettering, and then we had a huge, like 20-foot by I don't know, like 40-foot wall, and I had to like weave it with paracord. So that was pretty dope. But yeah, my poor hands, they're never the same. They're like little claw hands now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I love doing the murals. There's nothing like seeing your photo on the internet with someone else who doesn't know who you are, who doesn't know that the person who made it is watching, and they're like, this is so cool. Right. Or I really appreciate seeing this in my city. And I'm like, oh, I did that. That's so rad. So
wow. I had a really quick question back to the products thing, though. I was looking at this. I meant to ask you before. How did the quarantine journal go over?
Well, it was a limited item, and it really picked up kind of after like Thanksgiving.
Oh, but, really?
Yeah. I think people were just looking for gifts and then realized like, oh, I could use this for myself. But so I have this thing where like, especially with the news cycle, it's so hard to remember like what happened yesterday, let alone like
been a year in the last 12 months or so.
But I wanted a place that I could remember some of like the funnier stuff. And we as human beings have like overcome so much. Like I never thought I could be capable of doing the things that I ended up doing as a result of this survival mode that we're all in. You know, I feel bad for parents who are like, I guess I'm a principal and a teacher now and an executive at my job. And we were all having to overcome like really crazy stuff. And people, I think, were so consumed with the negativity and the despair in the news that they kind of forgot to like keep tabs and keep stock of like the good things. And so I wanted to create a place for people to do that. And just going back and looking through, like, just some of the stuff is so funny. Like, you know, we talk about, oh, there was a shortage of toilet paper. But for me, one of the funniest moments was that I remember walking into a store, there was no food on the shelves except for like the aisle that had weird vegan canned food. It's like, so like, it's stuff like that I want to remember. And, you know, I feel like other people feel that way too. And so the quarantine journal has been a cool little product. And I think people will have a time capsule of the stuff that's gone down.
And then you've got the BTS army, that one too. And as I'm a live music fan, so I appreciate just any music, and I don't listen to I am not a BTS stan, but like I think that's a really, I don't know, it's a fun, another like little spin-off. Like you could spin off all kinds of little things from that. And that's once you, especially you say you're doing a creative process in a way like monthly or whatever your, you know, overall project schedule looks like. I mean, there's kind of no end in sight to how you can spin these off.
Right? Oh yeah. I have like a national parks passport in the works.
Nice.
I've got like hiking trails. I was going to do one for each state and, you know, make those digital. So there's this idea of event-based or geographically based. Yeah, like
concerts, festivals.
Exactly.
You know, like
well, that's what the BTS one is, yeah.
Oh, is that what it is? Like well, I don't know anything about them. Tell me more. I don't know how that works. What does that look like to be a BTS fan? So
I'm actually not a huge BTS fan, but the two gals that I share a studio with, they are also stationery artists, but they are huge BTS fans. And just before the pandemic, they had organized with kind of the local maker network here in San Jose to host a BTS themed craft show. So all these people were making, you know, BTS themed products. And so that's what I created to be a part of the show. And then it ended up not happening, which is why I'm selling them on the site. But yeah, it's just this idea of these, like Fish fans, for example.
I'm a huge Fish fan, as our people will listen. And I actually interviewed Jim Pollock, their artist. Oh, really? So cause he buys stickers from us. So I was a dream come true. Like right now we're talking about national parks and hiking trails. Yeah. That's my junk. But then also like Jim Pollock was in a Life List interview to just talk to a creator who his work has influenced me for 25 years. You know, so anyway, I understand fandom. That's actually that's what I studied as a graduate student. So fandoms are very interesting. So to see you like productize that makes my head. I'm like, you could do it. I mean, I'm a huge Deadhead too, as our listeners know. It's just one of those things where these niches within your larger niche, your niche is, you know, the journaling or the stationery, whatever. But then it's like that can just.
I mean, it's endless. It's endless.
So you had the BTS, you and then you're still selling it. So those are the last two outliers that I was like, I want to ask about these. You cracked me up because it just is. It works, right? And I'm a journaler myself, and I like what you're bringing to the table. So, like we've already mentioned a little bit, it's been a roller coaster, but we're close to potentially trying to get everyone's business, and yours is travel, right? You had to weather a pretty thick storm, like travel, whether it's in Airstreams. Were you able to get out there in, Mavis? How's Mavis? What's Mavis's next adventure?
So Mavis is primarily stationery.
Okay.
So mainly because of just her setup, her plumbing and stuff is not good for boondocking and kind of going off grid. But we have because we're like those people, we have another trailer that we've, it's like a little tiny canned ham. It's a very small little retro thing that my husband and I have dubbed the Wiener Bago because of our wiener dogs. And so we usually take that on the road.
Okay. So you're still getting out there.
Oh yeah. It's, I've never felt bougier to have a trailer than I did during the pandemic, because I felt so fortunate that we could safely go out and not, worry about bothering anyone else or taking up any resources, because we could just park anywhere and enjoy the
So Mavis is kind of like, I see on the Instagram, you got quite a setup there. So, I mean, that's not really necessarily, super mobile, but then you are able to get out and about, because obviously that's a big part of your life.
Yeah. We will be taking Mavis to Palm Springs though, and posting up for about 4 or 5 months. So.
Oh wow, good for you. Yeah. That'll be fun. Yeah, excited, well, and also just find new inspiration. You go to Joshua Tree and just kind of desert out for a little while. And the spring is the best time to be in the desert.
Yep.
Especially when it all blooms. Well, Angie, I have to say, as a longtime fan of the stickers coming through the shop, even though I don't get to be in there anymore, and I apparently I'm carrying one on this laptop. I was like, I knew that ended up somewhere. So you've been a big part of our lives here, and to the folks listening, I appreciate that Angie's, you've weathered this storm. You created some new stuff in the process. Again, with the way our culture has evolved in the last few years, but specifically 2020 really changed so many things. It's nice to hear you thriving and being able to, keep being creative too, right?
Yeah, I feel very fortunate. I wish I could say the same for a lot of my cohorts out there, but I probably had one of my best years, considering I am a travel centric brand in a time where we can't travel. But I feel very fortunate, and having their excitement, obviously fuels my fire. So it's been a mutual kind of beneficial relationship.
Fantastic. As our longtime listeners know, this is Stickers on the Mic, and we say every sticker has a story, but these stickers are from Angie Chua, and they are our sticker sheets. There are sticker packs. There are, various peel-offs that go to different collections. There's the California. I mean, there is no end to the sticker options that you're bringing, and then of course all your other products that help people be creative, and get inspired as well. So thank you for bringing that inspiration into those people's lives too. I think that's really admirable.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm about actually today to put a fat order in with you guys. So today's all stickers all day long. So.
Oh, there you go. That's fantastic. Well, thank you everybody for listening. As always, it's my pleasure to be Andrew and to be able to share these stories like Angie's. We'll see you next time. Happy New Year to everybody out there in podcast land. Be safe, be well, and we'll be sharing Angie's story, and Angie will be seeing you, it sounds like, again, coming through the shops. It's pretty fantastic. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks for making a killer product. So.
Fabulous. So 2 things. 1, that was awesome, and thank you. And then 2, I'm very excited about your hike product, because I used to package up hikes for the Backpacker app, and I was the map editor, and so making those I used to write up short little things of copy related to. So I'm very excited for that product and how you put that together, because I think it's a very saturated space. I mean, the company I worked for also had a vertical called National Parks travel or whatever it was called. So like I did a lot of work for our national park products too, and I'm a huge we're big. My family, we like to go to national parks.
We're huge geeks about it too.
Good for you. And there's just so much fun as design opportunity there. I didn't want to dig in too much of it because everyone knows I just keep always talking about my like what I've done, but like, and that's not what this is about. But there's so much fun like familiar design language that you're able to leverage with when you do that kind of thing. So
yeah, I would actually love it if you shared some of that. Some of like the writings that you did, because for me, I know I'm always like I do a lot of stuff with Moon. Do you know what Moon Travel is?
I do. They're like the guidebook series, you mean?
Yeah, and they've been really helpful in allowing me to create new content, but kind of getting that insight. Again, that industry is so saturated. I don't even know where to get. I mean, I could Google resources all day, but
yeah, you could, but like my project that I used to be was, backpacker.com/hikes. And I don't even know if my stuff's byline there anymore. Yeah, there's all my gear reviews and stuff. I did the John Muir Trail many years ago. I mapped that for I did some other stuff. But I'm especially in the GPS space, I was, there's some stuff. Oh God, this is like
you cringed at your own work
lifetimes ago. It's just so long. When you're in a creative world, like it's like when I would listen to the first season of our podcast, which I don't do, but if I were to, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so bad.
I know.
Like this was the very first hike I ever mapped. This is my first day on the job when I was an intern there. It says it's from 2017. And then 2013, that makes no sense. It was like 2005. So anyway, long ass time ago, and it got far away. But very excited for that product. And you and what you're doing with Patreon seems very interesting. I've yet to like go into that. That's not a place for us to really operate necessarily.
I mean, you could probably find. I mean, especially if
brands
you were doing
shouldn't operate there, right?
No, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of kind of educational resources. So if you could build community through that, I think, one of the reasons that I love Patreon is I was doing all that work already. It's not like I'm not creating more work by having this Patreon. I was doing all that shit already and I wasn't getting paid. Creating artwork to put on Instagram so that someone could steal it is like the worst thing in the world. So for me to have Patreon and people like pay for the content seems kind of revolutionary, but people do it. And I think if there was, a resource like, where you guys provided videos on different types of stickers, how to create stuff, like there's so much value for brands that want to make stickers, but aren't designers, want to make stickers, but they don't know how to very Right. I don't understand the difference between all that stuff. And you guys, again, put that on your site, but to have more of a personalized touch, people pay for that.
They do. We're very, look at you chewing on this parking barrier. How fun is that? I just saw this. Oh man. Anyway, I love, look at that Yosemite stuff. We had for a while, I interviewed a guy named Rob Decker. He does national park posters. He's a Boulder County resident and he's a customer of Sticker Dye. And he has like the Worth Protecting or whatever is like the thing with the ranger and I'm sure that's out there. Other people have done it too, but we bought a bunch of prints off him and in the old factory, on like all the walls, there was like 20 different national park posters from him, which is super dope.
Yeah. I'll actually, I'll get your mailing address. I want to send you some stuff. I did a whole series of Wish You Weren't Here anti-travel postcards. I love those. I'll send you a stack of those, but
I can always dig in and I try to like save some matches because if I talk all about the things I'm interested in, the whole conversation with you about that. I wish there was I'm sure a podcast about national parks. Let's not get into it. Anyway, best of luck this year. Thank you, and we put this together real fast. Enjoy all the travels and best of luck.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I never realized you guys actually knew who I was. I'm just ordering all the time.
We're paying a lot more attention than maybe people think, but that we have at least 3 people with eyes on a lot of that stuff from our stories perspective, me, our social person, and then just the rest of the team is always kind of looking. We don't have as much opportunity because we're not in the factory where I used to just dig through literal garbage cans. And that's where I probably found your like California sticker. It was like not in the garbage, but it's like...
Yeah, but like the misprints or whatever.
The misprints or like whatever. I'm like, oh, wow, and so again, California is a big market for us. They're probably one of our biggest, I think California, Colorado, Texas, New York, maybe Florida. Those are our biggest geographies. And California obviously is such a large economy that there's so much to provide different industries. But long story short, thank you. And, you're going to order. So we have the current I think it's the National Sticker Day promotion. There's a coupon for that for 20% off.
Oh, I use the same one. I think it's
I'm sure
15, but I'll take a 20.
Yeah,
Shoot.
and then you're going to get your own custom Bobo Design Studio 15% off coupon for joining us on the show. I got to create that and send that over to you when I launch the episode. So you'll be able to share that with your network. And, if you want, I mean, it's more for you to use, but it's one of those things where, like, if people are like, where are you getting this? Or how did you do? Or, oh, you went on the podcast, I want to do stickers. You can give them your coupon just to create that equity with your
I've converted, all of my studio mates now buy through you guys, but I got them off that sticker mule nonsense.
Oh, here it is.
Don't do that.
We're off the record. I mean, I'm still recording just because there's some nice sound bites that are not related to the show, but this is off the record. Please don't buy from them for a variety of reasons, one of which we're closer, we're a better experience. Sticker Day 21, which that's just the first item in your cart. So let's see how that all works, because then there's also, I just want to make sure you're using any kind of coupon, but Sticker Day 21, because it's National Sticker Day next Wednesday.
Okay.
And so make sure you engage with your stickers next Wednesday on Sticker Day, because that's our that's our favorite day. But you can use Sticker Day 21 for the first item. But if you're ordering a bunch of stuff, I think we have this, the multiple item discount. So if you're ordering multiple things, it just starts going down, and the 20% is important, but you'll probably get a better deal just the more you order anyway.
Yep.
Not to do the sales thing right now, but here you go.
No, I'm all about bulking it up.
I just want to be a resource. So you will get Bobo Design Studio, and that will be your own custom coupon going forward. But I gotta send that over to you when I launch the show, probably next week. So that's coming to you, my friend.
Sorry, my computer is about to
die.
Go night, and I didn't realize it wasn't plugged in.
No, you're good. We can end the call. We've talked right to the time anyway. And you, like you said, you got to go put in an order, so I can't keep you from that. That would be foolish of me. Why would I keep you longer? You're trying to order stickers.
Take my money.
Well, we appreciate your business, and we appreciate what you're doing, and keep spreading joy in the world.
My goodness. Thank you so much for inviting me. And it was really nice to meet you. And I want to get your address. I'll send you an email.
We'll chat. I'll be watching.
Okay.
Bye.
That wraps up this episode of Stickers on the Mic, brought to you by StickerGiant.com. You can download us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or your favorite podcatcher. Thanks again for listening to Stickers on the Mic. We'll see you next time.